Now that the campaign has taken off,
Yeah.
your constituency is Inner Manipur. It's largely dominated by one of the communities that is like
Yeah.
a party to this current conflict.
Yeah.
And clearly, you're not shying away from mentioning or addressing the conflict.
Yeah.
Given that, what are, if I had to say, three top issues that your campaign is addressing for your
No,
constituents?
essentially, I'm just saying to remind people that this is an absolute failure of the state. This is a position that I have been maintaining from the day one. If you see my first, I think, interview I have given is the print. There I said the state should have reigned in this violence. Right from the day one, I said. I have also said in the same interview that accountability must be fixed. I've been saying this. And this is my first concern. This is the same thing I'm saying. This is not the inability of the state to stop, but it is rather the unwillingness of the state to stop. There must be certain political reasons for this. I've said the same thing in that interview. When
Mhm.
orchestrated violence of this magnitude happen, there's always a purpose, there's always a goal.
And what goal is that, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's this unfolding. Have you ever seen people being shifted out of one area to another rather than protecting them with all the might that the state has? Never ever has it happened in India. You see the shift being, Sikhs being shifted out of one area, Hindus being shifted out of one area, and allowing their residential areas to be flattened, just as the Meitei residential area in Kumujam village in Churachandpur, that the government of India and the state government in collusions have shifted those population out of there, and over the months, right in the presence, right under the nose of the district administration, the DC, the police, the army, and the central security forces, under the watchful eye of the government of India and the state government, those areas have been flattened and turned into ground by using bulldozers. How is it possible? It is not mere communal rights. There is something. People talk about involvement of the state, and the rest of the national media is talking as if because of their anti-BJP stand, they think the Meiteis are Hindus and the state is a Meitei majority. And this kind of false narrative, you have never understood. The involvement of the state of a star kind is not the kind of propaganda that the cookies have been doing or the national media is doing. I'm giving you an example. At the beginning of the situations, the Meiteis have been shifted out of Churachandpur, and there is no violence for them. But how is that those localities, those residential colonies, have disappeared from the surface of the earth? It's been bulldozed.
I understand.
That's the state complicity, but the rest of the national media didn't talk about it. When they talk about state complicity, they will say majority Meiteis and state sponsor BJP Modi. That's the story that you wanted to tell. The fact of the matter is, Meiteis have been victimized there.
Sure, I take your
You
point.
understand?
I
See,
do.
this is my first concern that there's something about the Indian state. I have said this in one of my speeches in the one that I gave in Chandigarh, in Punjab University. It's available on YouTube. You can check that. I have said there that the inaction of the Indian state itself is an action that has aggravated this situation. So that's my first campaign, and to
Right.
understand and unpack and let people think about it, to make my people realize what is this. The second is my plank is to sort of restore peace. And when I talk about peace, as it is understood, there cannot be any peace without justice. So again, when we talk about justice, we tend to think about minorities and tribals and so on. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everybody's justice. So I think all these people, I have said this openly, in relief camp, they must we must ensure that they go back to their original place and lead a life, not as a wretched life, but with dignity and everything restored. And that should be this agenda of the state, whichever party which comes to power. That's the plank that I think. And the third, which I'm talking about, is the general idea of a united Manipur, where every community can live with a sense of dignity and well-being. That's the plan that I am giving, and whatever it takes, we need to do it. Last but not the least, the economic and cultural consequences of this conflict must be addressed. That I'm thinking about that in various ways. These are the broadly three or four issues of my main plank on which I talk to people. And
Which economic and cultural consequences are you
when you
specifically
look
referring
at,
to?
because of this crisis, look at the truckers. Look at the consequences on their family. Their earning has been stopped. You see, this is one simple thing. Shops have been closed down. Many small scale startup also shut down. And I suspect that when I talk to some of the people in the business communities here, they said that there's a flight of investment already. It's a terrible situation. So many of the talented people are thinking about leaving the state. It will cause brain drain, and the serious consequences will follow in the next 30, 40 years. The consequence is going to linger on for that much long because they have allowed this violence to go on for more than 11 months now. So there are serious consequences. So,
And what cultural consequence are you specifically
because
referring
of the
to?
violence, what we are seeing is that cultural fabric, the decency, the moral compass which runs a society has collapsed almost. So violence has taken over, diktat has taken over. So basically, those things have also been eroded, and we need to confront this. So there is a serious issues around these ones.